It's happy hour again from Central City, New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. We're at Casa Borrega on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard in Central City, just half a block up from Cafe Reconcile, otherwise known as Cafe Reconcile. I almost pulled that off.
I like that.
It's happy hour. In the next 60 minutes, you're going to get to meet just 4 or maybe 3 of the many thousands of fascinating people who live in New Orleans, and you'll get to hear some live music as well. At the end of the show, you might conclude New Orleans is a great city where people love to talk, have fun, and enjoy great music, but you probably know that already, so let's get right on with doing nothing but enjoying the next 60 minutes of happy hour together with our very special guest sitting around here at Casa Borrega, which, by the way, is almost open. Hugo, when is Casa Borrega opening? Next week. So by the time you're listening to this, hey, thanks, Chris. By the time you're listening to this, Casa Borrega is finally going to be open, and you're going to come down here and see this place for yourself. In the meantime, you can follow them on Facebook and Twitter and find out exactly when it's open. P.H.Fred is one of our special guests sitting here today. P.H.Fred is a New Orleans songwriter, comedian, and frontman for the band The Round Pegs, and also an artist. As an artist, Mr. Fred's art has been exhibited in shows and galleries in California, Louisiana, and New Mexico, and his music appears in diverse locations like on Dr. Demento and in popular toys.
Yes, indeed.
What sort of popular toys are we talking about?
Some Little Tykes toys. Like, they had a singing kitchen a few years back and a singing grocery store.
What did the kitchen sing?
Songs.
Well, what did it sing? Like what?
I'm a happy kitchen. No, I really don't remember. I was on drugs at the time, and I don't really remember what I had it sing.
What drugs were you on that you could purge that song out of?
I have no idea.
Can't remember the drugs.
I can't remember the drugs.
Do you remember getting paid?
I
for
did
that?
get paid.
You remember getting paid for that? Have you spent all the money?
Quickly.
It's all gone. Okay.
Exactly.
In the 1990s, P.H.Fred was a pioneer of the comedy movement in New Orleans, and post-Hurricane Katrina, his blog, Katrina Killed My Mama, documented his struggles in the year following the storm. These days, P.H.Fred spends his time making records like his latest, Lithium and Underoos, which is just out, I believe. Congratulations, yes. P.H.Fred. And making rare public appearances such as this one.
Like this one.
How rare are your public appearances?
Twice a year. Leave the house.
Wow. So we're at, it's like July now.
So you'll see me again in December.
Okay.
The other one is to go to the grocery store. So.
To pick up the singing kitchen.
That's right.
Are you, do you have agoraphobia or something?
No.
Okay, so it's not that.
It's not that.
Is it something like that? We'll get onto that in a minute, shall we?
We shall.
You look pretty healthy, though.
Well, thank you.
Looks like you've seen the sun recently.
Yes, I have.
Do you have like a sun lamp at home? Spray on tan?
You've discovered me.
Busted you. Rachel Dangermond, welcome back to Happy Hour.
Thank you.
Making her second appearance, Rachel Dangermond is a writer, journalist, and longtime New Orleans blogger on her website, dangermond.org. Rachel's latest undertaking is a recently launched blog called Transracial Parenting, which deals with race, racism, and parenting in the 21st century. That's right now, right?
Yes,
This is the 21st century, right? And her soon-to-be-published book, The Elephant in the Playground, is directed at white parents of white children. Well, that's a good audience because there's tons of those people.
Yes,
Good
there are.
thinking. White parents of white children about how to prepare their kids for the new global and multi-ethnic world. Okay. If that's not enough to do in a day, Rachel is also addressing the growing need for educating the LGBTQ community about parenting biracial brown and black children. Okay, now, I've seen LGBT. What is Q?
Queer.
Queer. So it's lesbian, gay, bisexual,
Transsexual, and gay.
And gay. And
There's a
and
lot
queer.
more.
No, hang on, queer,
Queer,
not
queer,
gay.
and queer.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual,
and queer.
and queer.
Yes.
What does the queer one denote that the other ones don't?
I think queer is a little bit more all-encompassing.
It's
Okay.
other.
Yeah.
What can lean in a little bit? Yeah.
Okay,
What,
I kind of get it now.
what other sexual proclivities are there besides LGB and T?
Well, because, within each of those categories are so many subcategories. You have, male identifying as female who likes male. I mean,
Okay.
Okay.
Hang
I'm
on,
saying?
what? Male identifying as female. Does that mean dressing as?
Identifying. Gender identification is a lot deeper than clothes.
I like the look you gave me. Putting this is not television. It is, yes, Rachel.
Yes.
I see. It is. What
Yes,
is
it is.
one thinks of oneself as a woman or a man,
Right.
not just dresses, but the outward appearance is clothing. So that's how people treat you, right? I mean, if I walk around and look like this and I put on a dress, no one's going to really think I'm a woman. But if I wear makeup and have my hair down and so on, there's a difference between a guy in a dress and a guy who thinks he's a woman.
You could be a guy in a suit, but when you go home, you're in a dress.
What does that make me? Q?
Possibly.
I would say that's other. Is queer other? Because we're onto it. We're going down a very bad road here.
Okay,
even
let's just-
before I've even introduced Andrew.
Queer is just different. Let's say that.
Right.
Than the norm.
Yeah.
It's funny
Whatever
that we
that
have
Who
to-
wants to be norm anyway?
Right.
Well, yeah, why do we have to have... This is Andrew Duhon, that voice you just heard. Andrew Duhon is a singer-songwriter and the Happy Hour troubadour who wanders around the world and the country, and occasionally, when he feels like it, comes and hangs out with us here at Happy Hour.
But only for a little while.
But only for a little while today, because he's got to go play at the Ogden Museum.
Yeah.
And then you're off on like a big tour around Europe.
Yeah, a
in
long
these
time.
few
We're going to
days.
miss each other.
I know. We can maybe have to Skype you in or something.
That would be cool.
We can do that. You
Yeah.
know. We have the technology.
Wait, what time's that? That's going to be like midnight. Nope. 10
No.
o'clock.
You're in
6 hours.
You're in Europe,
10 o'clock.
in England mostly.
Yeah.
So that we 6 hours, so 10 o'clock at night. So
Mhm.
you'd probably be playing most nights. Who knows though?
Yeah, I'll have some nights off, but then I'll be at the pub probably. What
Even
if I
better.
Skype from the pub?
How bad could
Good
that be,
idea.
right?
Good
Man, that
idea.
could
Can
be
you
really
Skype
cool.
from your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in.
Yeah.
In the bathroom in the pub.
Oh, you mean the water closet?
Yeah, so there's no noise.
That's a good idea. Well, we don't mind noise. And our special music guest today are two guys called Casey O'Rourke and Brian Santos.
Maybe.
Hi, Casey.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Brian.
Oh, hey.
Casey's the trumpet player and lead singer, and Brian is the guitar player in the New Orleans band Flow Tribe. However, they're not actually here.
Not here yet.
They should be walking in the door any second. If they do, we'll be so happy to welcome them. Then I can sort of flip back to this page.
Can't wait to meet you guys.
That's
Okay.
right. We'll throw our voices.
Who did the singing kitchen? Was that Brian or KC
Oh,
or
no.
PH? Interesting that you're P.H.Fred and this guy's name is KC O'Rourke.
Mm.
I don't have a Sunshine Band.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, that's a good point. So PH,
Yes.
let's go back to PH. Now, that's nothing to do with the acidity, PH.Fred, right?
No, it does not.
Nothing to do with it whatsoever. Where did the PH come from? That was originally not your name.
It was not my name. My birth name is Fred Schneider.
Fred Schneider, Jewish.
No.
Not Jewish.
Uh,
German.
Other.
Other.
Q.
Q.
Mhm.
Queer. Okay.
Exactly.
Queer Schneider.
Exactly. And when I started out playing music, there was another band called the B-52s,
Yeah.
led by a fellow named Fred,
Fred
Schneider.
Schneider. Jewish?
He's Jewish.
He is.
And
Why didn't you
And
say...
Q.
Why didn't you call... No, he's G, isn't he?
he's G.
Why didn't
Probably.
you call yourself the Gentile Fred Schneider?
I could have. I could have.
That would have been a G.
That would have
G.
been. That would have been a different G.
That would have been sort of different G, right?
Right. It's
Yeah.
difficult.
Or non-J. You could do non-J.
Exactly.
Non-Jewish Fred Schneider.
And actually, I don't know about that. The G's,
Rachel.
it's difficult.
G is not for difficult. That would be D. It would be difficult, is what you're thinking of.
Yes, difficult. It's difficult.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I started spelling my name differently, P-H-R-E-D,
Oh, I see.
Schneider. But on the phone, Jimmy and the people at Tips
Right.
would say, "You're not Fred Schneider. You're not Bob Dylan. Hang up." And so I started, when my first record came out, I dropped the Schneider and went by P-H-R-E-D, Fred, just plain old Fred.
Right.
And some idiot at Sound Warehouse, which was a record store here back in the 80s,
We remember.
Yeah.
didn't know that P-H-R-E-D spelled Fred, and he said, "I don't get this P-H Fred thing."
So
And that's how
where
I got the
PH Fred
name.
came from.
And then about 5
Ah.
years later, I had a song on the radio called Kill Barney, which was on Dr. Demento and
Right.
a bunch of morning shows around the country.
How did that go? Can you remember that?
No, I
Did
blotted
the
it.
drugs
Sure
all?
you
Did
can.
the
The
drugs
alcohol
all?
blocked
Pick
that one
up
out.
that guitar and play a little bit of Kill Barney. Come on, we have to hear that. It was a hit.
It was a hit.
And for people who don't know who Barney was,
He was
Who
the
doesn't
guy
He's
on-
dead.
Who Barney
he's
was.
dead.
everyone knows who Barney was, Andrew?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Well, I like Andy Taylor. I like Barney Five. I like Barney Rubble and Betty, his wife. But the B word gets under my skin. Kill Barney, the dinosaur, and all of his kin. Kill Barney with a knife or a gun. For the sake of our parents, this deed must be done. He's stupid, stupendous. I declare war on the purple dinosaur. And that went on for minutes.
Okay, dude.
Yeah.
I would believe that was Bob Dylan, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you close your eyes, that could be Bob Dylan. Has Bob heard that?
I don't think so.
Did anyone get that to him? I wonder.
I wonder if he was living in New Orleans at the time, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Used to hang out at Madigan's, he did.
you should have given him a copy of that. He would love that, I'm
He
sure.
would have. He would have.
He's got a sense of humor. He's Jewish.
He was
Definitely. He's
most of
definitely-
the time.
I think he converted to
He
Christianity.
converted to
at some
Christianity,
point.
and
Did
then
he
he
go
converted.
back?
I think he converted back.
Do you have to convert back to Judaism, or
I have
Or
no
do you
idea.
you
just still
just
have the
stay
passport,
Jewish?
right?
Yeah, I think you just stay Jewish, and then you can
It's
also
like
be
dual citizenship,
Yeah,
like
I think it's
Canadian
pretty short.
American or something.
Rachel, now
like
you're Jewish.
I am
Rachel,
Jewish.
and
You
Cuban.
don't stay Jewish.
You don't.
No, you
They revoke.
fluidly.
You
fluidly.
revoke that, do they?
I think everything's fluid for me. Sex, gender,
Sex
religion.
is fluid. Sex is supposed to be fluid. That's good. Religion,
good.
I don't know if that's supposed to be or not. I think you're supposed to be hard and fast about that, aren't you?
No,
Only
I'm
if
a
you're-
wandering Jew. I've always been a wandering Jew. Well, I haven't always, but in my adulthood.
Yes, but isn't religion supposed to be a set of faith beliefs that
that
underpin everything in your life?
That change
Oh, I
and
thought that was
morph
supposed
as you get additional information.
Maybe that's religion,
Oh.
and maybe the fluid part is spirituality.
Oh, look
Okay,
at you.
now you're talking.
I
Okay,
thought you were
yeah.
just a musician.
No, hardly.
You wouldn't have this job if you was just a musician. This is a highly intellectual gig here.
I
the-
remember,
The,
I remember.
The cocktails at the
That's
show
why
at
they
Happy
call
Hour.
me, yeah.
That's what they call you, exactly. So PH, this is back
Yes.
in the 80s or 90s. 90s we're talking
Late
about.
80s, early 90s,
Right,
yeah.
okay. And I remember you from back in the day when you had a song, and it's been really bugging me now. I hate this because, you know, you have an idea in your head and you try to remember and you
Yes.
can't. I can't find it online anywhere. It was a song that I remember you singing, and it had the word something. I knew she was from Canada because
I knew she was from Bucktown because I woke up with the crabs.
I love that.
That's
I knew
great.
she was from Bucktown because I woke up with the crabs. Thank God you remembered that.
great.
That's been plaguing me. Is that online anywhere? That song?
It's not online, but I get you a copy of it. I
Oh,
will
that's
send you an
fab.
MP3.
What you want to do? You want to do
No.
a
That's one of those songs that haunts me. I don't play that very
I thought it was really great. I was a
thank you.
big fan of yours. Remember, I tried to get you to play Zephyrfest back in the day when we had those concerts.
I never got.
and
Oh, maybe you had like the spots in between. and
they wouldn't let me
they
do
they
it.
wouldn't let you book
Oh.
me.
They
because
wouldn't
was
let
too-
me do it. I
was too
tried everything.
controversial,
Yeah,
yes.
controversial. I said, why don't we put this guy on between acts? You know, while they're changing, and this guy's like so crazy.
Well, why
It's
don't you just
fun.
you should have just given him 5 songs and said these are the 5 songs and they're not that racy, and then
Right.
you know.
Yeah, but I was like a nobody. I was just a DJ
Well,
on the radio.
they
and
that
they-
gets
yeah,
me in
okay.
trouble. I mean, it gets people in trouble. They booked me to be the host. They booked me to be the host of the Miss Louisiana contest over at Boomtown Casino.
Okay, that's a fatal mistake, right?
And
there.
guess what song they had me play? They go, do that Bucktown song.
Oh,
Oh,
my
no.
God.
Things out in Metairie, and halfway through the songs, the judges are going, oh, no.
Take
that's
them
great.
off.
Take them off.
So
yeah.
you were the MC of a beauty contest.
Yes, I
at
was. And the best part of
Boomtown
that
Casino.
is my comedy partner and I were backstage where these young nubile ladies were getting dressed and undressed
Where they're getting sprayed
and
with
taped
butt glue
and taped because
Ah.
they have to tape things. And they all go, we can't change back here. There's boys. And my partner and I looked at each other and go, we're gay.
LGBTQ.
Yes, exactly.
And were you actually gay?
Not at the time.
Okay, so you haven't like been prayed straight or anything like that.
No, I have
Okay.
not been preached.
I'm
Yes.
just checking about that. So, who was your partner?
There were 3. One was Fayard Lindsay.
Yes. Now that guy was funny too.
He's very, very funny. He still does comedy around town.
He was a tall black gentleman, as I remember.
Yes.
Yes.
Big, muscular.
Big guy.
Still is,
yeah.
I
Big,
think.
still is.
Still is.
Kim Lonzo.
Didn't change. Kim Lonzo. I don't remember that.
Also a black gentleman.
Okay.
And then Andrew Abear. And all 3 of those gentlemen went through Brown Comedy with me way back when we did Brown Improv Comedy. And
Brown being the name of the group, not
not the
racial.
not the racial thing, yes.
Right.
And Ken Jeong, the famous comedian who's in The Hangover and all, when he lived in New Orleans, he was part of that troupe as well.
really.
Mm.
So you
Yes.
go way back with all these people. So
Yes.
was he a doctor or something? as
He
well?
was in New Orleans doing his residency at Ochsner
Wow.
Good
and
Lord.
doing comedy for mental health at night.
Does he call you? Are you in touch with him still?
I still tweet with him and email and all
So
that stuff.
I have to ask you this: do you think like back in the day when you were working, acting, doing comedy with him, that he stood out, or is it just one of those things where one guy gets?
Well, he stood out. There were a handful that stood out, but he was the one who was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. That's always an interesting thing for me to ask folks who were there and knew them when,
Right.
did they really stand out, or was it just sort of like a
I could have
plucked
picked.
out of
I could have
anywhere?
picked 5 people that I said one of these is going to make it, and he was one of the 5.
Gotcha.
What happened to the other 4?
They're still doing what they were doing 5 or 20 years ago. So, so yeah, you just have to be in the right place at the right time. And he was at a contest, and Brandon Tartikoff happened to be the judge who was running NBC at the time. So that's sort of
Well, I can tell you something. I worked with Brandon Tartikoff every day for months, and nothing happened to me.
You're one of the other six guys.
I'm number six. I'm like
Right
the
place,
sixth.
wrong guy.
Yeah, I mean,
You're-
you have to have
cute.
something more than just cute.
Other.
I'm cute.
You're
Queer.
cute.
Other. I think other is good. Hey, Rachel, I read your blog this morning
Yes, you did.
before I came. It's sort of like that's the beginning of a Beatles song, right?
I read
I
your
read your
blog.
blog this morning.
This
Oh, boy.
morning. Oh, boy.
And this is from today. You just wrote this today because it says you're going to be on the show today.
Yes,
so
it
I'm
wa-
like,
it did
wow,
say that.
we made it on the internet already.
Right, exactly.
It says, I finally arrived at the other side of when this is over, I can breathe. And now it's about doing more than just getting through the days. This afternoon I'll be on It's New Orleans again to do a podcast on my new work, writing and speaking about race and parenting. What did you mean? I've arrived at the other side of when this is, what's over?
I've been on a journey. As you might notice, Grant, I'm bald.
I've noticed you have no hair since I saw you
no
last.
hair, that's right.
You have a blue dot on your
have a
head, which
blue
is
dot.
mesmerizing. It's
That's-
almost,
Isn't it?
it's
nice.
almost got me in a trance, actually, looking at that. I don't know where to look.
So, yeah. So I lost all my hair last March.
Last March.
No,
and
no,
that
not
was,
March a year ago.
So a year ago, okay. You lost it all, just all fell out.
It all fell out. It just
In one day?
all fell out.
Just in a day or like over a week or what happened?
It happened over like about a week and a half,
Okay, just suddenly.
suddenly.
Well, I've had that happen, but it's happening over a longer time than
I
a week.
know. A lot of men sympathize with me.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't look, it looks like a statement, but it actually is something happened to you.
Yeah, a lot of people think that this is a style that I'm wearing here.
Well, it is,
yeah.
actually.
And, well, I'm making it my own. You know,
Yeah.
bindi, earrings, lipstick. You know.
Yeah. So that's called a bindi, that blue dot.
It's a bindi.
It's a bindi. I can't look at you because it's mesmerized. It's got put me into like a...
Well, you know what? A friend of mine
Psychotic.
gave me these bindis, and she
Yeah.
said, if you wear the bindi, no one's going to address the fact that you're bald. And it's true.
Yeah.
People talk about the bindi all
Yeah.
the time. They just don't even notice that I'm bald.
Yep,
It's amazing.
I'm buying that.
Could you
got it?
take all your clothes off and nobody would notice? They'd just be staring at the bindi all the time. How far
Do
can
you
you
want,
go?
you want me to try that here?
Well, there's nobody here. It's not open to the public, so I don't
Just
think
us.
it's illegal.
We're all Q. It's cool. You know.
No one's going to arrest you, that's for sure. So So that's why you do that. So no one will ask you why you're.
No, I actually just started doing it. You know, my hair was my crowning glory, like most women. You know, I had thick, red, curly hair.
Yeah, you did.
And
actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so like to suddenly not have any hair is like whoa, a big whoa. And so then I started wearing wigs, but then I had to wear a lot of makeup to like make up for the fact that it was washing me out. So I had to paint on eyebrows, paint eyeliner, do all this stuff like this. And so if I was talking to you and I moved my hair, I might wipe off an eyebrow or do stuff like that, you know. And it
Yeah.
was really aggravating. And so I just said,
Screw it.
screw it.
You can say
Exactly.
anything. It's not the real radio. It's
Well, I like that you put those words in my mouth,
Yeah,
Grant.
okay.
So.
So you gave up doing all that. So was that? What was the feeling? Well, let's go back to the beginning. Why did all your hair fall out? What happened?
Well, I have an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's. It sounds exotic, but actually it's not.
Sounds Japanese.
It sounds Japanese.
Not Jewish, right?
It's not Jewish.
Not Jewish. Okay.
And I didn't know I had, you know,
It's a genetic thing, or you catch it, or
you know, it's something
knows?
that happens to people. And actually, since I've gotten it, I've met so many people who have it. But the
Yeah.
hair loss for me is extreme. So usually you might lose an eyebrow, you might have some patches of hair loss, something like that. But my hair loss is extreme. But usually, sometimes a catalyst for Hashimoto's is stress. And I was under undue stress for many years. And so then it just all sort of collapsed. And when this happened, it was like, ooh.
wow.
Yeah, it's a kind of amazing experience. I always say, you know, people say, well, can you die from that? And I'm like, it's not life-threatening, but it certainly is life-altering.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. But what else besides your hair falling? Is that the only symptom? Nothing else? I mean, you're
Oh,
not
no,
sick
no,
or
no. Well, the one thing, you know, my thyroid, my body's attacking my thyroid and killing it. So things like noise are overwhelming to me. I was very tired. I put on weight. You know, things like that I can't control.
you look great. Actually.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. But
Are you heavier than last time I saw you? That was only,
yes,
That was only 2 years ago.
I know.
I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
Really? So
Lugging around a ball
you put
and
on
chain.
weight and your hair fell out. That's
Yeah.
it. But that's not that drastic, and you're tired once in a while.
Well,
So it's not the world's most
if
drastic
you
disease.
were a woman and you
Yeah,
lost
I-
all your hair,
Yes. I
and you
know-
were over 50, how would you feel about that?
Sure.
Well, which one should I go with first? If I was a woman, how would I feel about that? Pretty good, I think, probably. If I lost all my hair and I was a woman. No, it must be an incredibly... It is a life-altering thing to happen. But if it's an autoimmune disease, it doesn't sound like it's that it's not a life-ending autoimmune disease.
Right.
I hope.
Exactly.
Is it?
No,
It's not.
I hope not. No, I don't think so.
But you mentioned that a woman's hair is her crowning glory, and I think
Right.
any man who's past Neanderthal status knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they see you without the correction of a wig or something,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of celebrating it with the gem,
Mm-hmm.
it's as radiant or more radiant than you could ever be otherwise. So.
And what are you doing after the podcast?
I've actually got this show at Ogden
He's
where
got to go. Why don't you can go with him?
I'll be there.
And it'll just be me and Fred left here.
Exactly. And I'll play that Bucktown song for you.
You know, actually, it's amazing how when people do come up to me and they're kind of taken with me, they instantly say that you're so beautiful, and they really connect with me, and it's amazing. And then I can see, pretty much for the most part, the men who can't get it, and they whoa,
Sure.
I can't look, But it's interesting, I mean, I feel like it's pretty freeing. So.
When you just said something interesting. You said the men who can't get it.
I've never had a woman who took, most women have been like, wow, this is so great, wow, you got a great head, all this kind of stuff like that. And men, you can kind of see how they're reacting, and some are just so drawn to it. And, of course, one particularly young man I thought I was on a bucket list, Japanese woman, bald woman, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I avoided him. But, there's some men that just kind of like, whoa, that's too much, can't handle it. So.
That's interesting that men and women have a completely different reaction to you. Women are totally accepting, and men are
women
judgmental.
are different.
Men and women are different. That's why there's LGBTQ.
Q and more.
Now let's talk about that for a minute then, because why don't we just go down this road as well? Now, seeing we're onto everything here. What is the connection between L, G, B, and T? I don't get that.
Well, because, last time I was on your show, I was on as a gay mother of an adopted son, right?
Yes.
And so
What are you on this time as exactly? I don't book these guests, so...
I am an F.
You're an F.
Yes. What do we first say?
Friend?
Fluid.
Right. Okay, so you could be anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you on as today? Last time you were on as a
F.
gay mother and adopted child.
I'm actually
Today you're
on today to
yes.
talk about the need for an open conversation on parenting children of a different color, and also the need for white people to step up and start educating their white children about racism in America, because people of color have been doing this for all of their life, but white people are not doing any of this work. And in order for us to get past this or get closer to past this, we need white people to step up in solidarity with people of color.
And what sort of world do you think you're living in that suddenly white people are going to do that?
Well, I do think that, when Obama was elected, I'm a huge Obama supporter, okay? But whether we were going to argue about his, effectiveness as a president or not, you have to admit that his becoming president has opened up this race dialogue in America like never before. I mean, maybe we discussed this in the 60s because we broke some ground there, but then it went undercover for a very long time. And it has resurfaced in a way that is horrifying and good.
You mean
good.
it's horrifying because there's a lot of people who just don't like Obama?
I think it's horrifying because I've seen more racist public remarks. Now, granted, social media has arisen since the 60s, and so maybe, like all other things, we're just so privy to seeing a lot of people's thoughts that we wouldn't have seen before, the average person on the streets. But there's a feeling amongst people who do anti-racist work that probably the people who are the most blind are the liberal, progressive white people. And as a person who has never identified as being white until I had a black son, and I had to be white because I was Sephardic, I was Spanish, I was Jewish, I was not, there was nothing white. But because I look white and everybody thinks I'm white and I have a black son, I'm privy to what white people think about racism. And most white people think that racism is not an issue, which is amazing because it's the issue. So, I just...
Well, it's the issue if you're not white.
Well, it is an issue if you're not white.
Yeah,
if
you're black or another minority, you're aware of it all the time.
But okay,
if
so...
you're white, then
right.
you don't have to think about it.
Okay, so I don't want to take I'm sure y'all have something to say about this.
Sure. Well, yeah, but come on.
But I have
Yes,
to say
Rachel.
that being white and raising a white child, you can think you can hide from this subject, but the fact is that I had some statistics here. Half of children under 5 today are non-white. The fastest growing group of children in the world are biracial. The largest number of incoming freshmen to college are, I don't even want to call them minorities. Let's say people of color.
Okay.
And so
This is in the United States, you mean?
in the United States.
Right.
So let's look at it this way. You're parenting a white child. They're 3 years old, right? And you're not talking to them about racism and institutionalized racism in this country. Well, the chances that your white child is going to marry a person of a different ethnic background or that they're going to parent a biracial child are enormous. So have you prepared your child to live in this modern world? No, you haven't. So it does affect you, and it does affect what you're doing. If you're going to keep this child insulated from what's going on out there, then they're rapidly going to be, the knuckle draggers of the world, okay?
Hugo's joining us. Hugo Montero is not only the proprietor of Casa Borrega, but he's also Mexican.
And he's handsome.
And he's a handsome young man, isn't he? So, Hugo, you know something about being a minority in the United
Well,
States?
you know Linda. Linda's
Your wife?
she's from San Francisco. Her father came in 1906 to rebuild San Francisco after the earthquake. They were Jewish. They came with some of the same people like Levi Strauss. She's white, she's blonde, she has blue eyes, but you can see. Who knows how Jewish people look like? Nobody really knows, but you can say
Nobody really
okay,
knows.
she's Jewish. Well, it's very funny when I'm with her. I'm treated totally different than when I'm by myself.
What's the difference?
People's more accommodating. I mean, they are nicer.
They
to
think
me.
you must be okay if you've got a good-looking
Exactly.
white wife.
Yeah, and they think, well, I mean, first he speaks English because it's obvious that she doesn't speak Spanish. That she does. I mean, she speaks perfect Spanish. So first, I mean, this guy, he speaks English first. Second, he might be second, third generation. He might be like Native American, something. He's not Mexican. When I'm in airports by myself, I just flew from Mexico City last week. I mean, I went to Istanbul last year, and I went to Greece, and I'm stopped all the time. I mean, it's always the Middle Eastern looking guy, young guy, college, Middle Eastern looking, the Mexican people or the minorities. I mean, my wife had a really hard time to understand this until she lived that on the flesh with me. Like, why? I mean, I get stopped by immigration, by
Well,
the
you're a
DEA,
suspicious looking
by
guy.
the FBI. No, but,
You look
but
like a
not
terrorist.
only that. Like, I have a big body, and I'm a very, very smooth guy, actually. But they think I'm this sort of like in the mariachi movie, like the biggest Mexican thing you ever see.
But so in the future, though, in the next generation, and we're talking about it within 20 years, when over half the population you're saying now, over half the population of the kids under what? Under five
Are
are
non-white.
non-white. That won't be the case for this next generation.
No, I mean, look,
But do you have to? What do you?
We're in the middle of a change, right? We're right in the nexus of it, okay? And so the truth is that if you had a child today, when that child grew up, they'd be living more in a world that looked more like him than they do like me, right?
Right.
But the thing about it is that right now, in order to get to that world, or to get to that world successfully, we have to prepare our children for it, right? And we're not doing that. I mean, white people are not doing that.
Do you have to prepare? I mean, it's going to come anyway, whether you're prepared for it or not, right?
No. Here's the thing about kids. Okay, you've got a kid in a car, and I'm stealing Tim Wise's words, and I don't know if you know Tim Wise. He's one of the biggest speakers about racism in this country, and he's white. He actually graduated from Tulane. But he said that when you have your child in the car and you're driving through a poor neighborhood, right? If you don't tell them what's going on, if you don't say, look, we're driving down Orleans Avenue, and there's a lot of black people out here, and they're sitting on the porch, and they're, and it doesn't look like maybe they're working, or they seem to be here all the time or whatever, and they look like they live in poor houses. It certainly doesn't look like our neighborhood, right? And you don't fill in the gaps that racism has been institutionalized in our country, that these people have not had the opportunities that we've had as white people. If you don't tell them that, then kids fill in the gaps themselves, and they say, those people are bad. There's something wrong with them because they're poor, so obviously they did something wrong. They're also black, or they're people of color, or they're Hispanic, or they're Mexican, so that must mean that something is wrong with people of color, because we white people live in a nice, beautiful house, and we don't live in a street that looks like this. And so anyway, so if you don't educate them, then they fill in the gaps.
At the same time goes with the other direction. Because you see, I mean, like as a minority, I went to college and all that, so I have to say, when you're in a Mexican neighborhood, like in the ghetto here in the United States, it's LA, San Antonio, Texas, New York. I know some Hispanic kids that they are never in touch with anybody else, with blacks or with Caucasians, And the same thing here in New Orleans. You see like African American kids. I used to teach here in New Orleans. I used to teach in New Orleans East. 99% African American. And, they never been close to a white person,
Exactly.
to a white kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the sense of the ghetto is the sense of total abstraction, from the real world, or whatever we call like the real world.
Yeah.
And that can happen with kids from Guaranistan or from Newman.
Sure, right.
And I was teaching at a Catholic school on the North Shore after Katrina, not by choice. And they told the girls that we have a very diverse community here. We have skinny white girls, we have fat white girls, tall white girls.
Did you have bald white girls?
We didn't have any bald white girls. But the thing is, I uttered that in the background. I was fired from that school. But the thing is, I thought it was important to point out that they had diversity amongst the white students. There were no African American students.
They weren't discriminating against fat girls then?
No, they weren't.
Oh, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
What school was this?
It was.
You're allowed to say.
It was Saint Scholastica was the school.
Saint Scholastica, and
In
what did they
Covington.
fire you for exactly?
For being different.
In what sense? Not Jewish or not Catholic?
Exactly.
Queer?
Exactly.
A bit
All of the
too
above.
diverse, maybe.
Too diverse.
Too diverse. Good Lord, why were you
Ah.
teaching there?
Because that was the only school I could get a job at after Katrina. Because most of the schools in New Orleans were underground.
Fred,
Underwater.
Well, underwater, not underground.
Not
right,
underground.
Right, good point.
And plus, I was the
I wouldn't have
MC
caught
of Fleur de Tease at the time, so that didn't look good teaching at a Catholic school and dancing with Trixie Minx on a Saturday night, so that did not look good.
This is before you refused to leave the house. What point did you stop leaving the house at?
I guess about 2 years after Katrina, I didn't leave the house much.
Why was that?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm getting out a little bit more. The band is pushing me out to promote the
twice
record.
a year is better than never. What happened to you? Did anything happen to you? Nothing. You didn't get
Depression.
depressed.
It was a depression thing.
Yeah. Did your house get flooded or anything?
I lost the house. My mom died the night of the storm, and
The night.
it was just
Sorry.
and
That's
lost my
hard.
job as well. It was like 3 bad things all at once. So
Hurricane Katrina killed your house.
right.
And really, that was the name of your blog, is Katrina
Well, she
killed
died
my mom.
she died in a nursing home that night.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
they lost her body, and it took them 2 or 3 weeks to find it. Red Cross said, "We knew where she was. We just don't know where she is now."
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Good Lord.
So I wrote a book about that, the Katrina Killed My Mama blog, which was up every day for a year. And then I threw myself into work for about 2 years. And after that, one day I was driving across to go to the nice Catholic girls' school, and I said, I can't do this crap anymore.
Yeah, really.
So I just sort of checked out for a while.
Holy crap. So what did you do for a job? And when you're not being funny?
When I'm not being, I do private teaching and private tutoring, work a lot with special needs kids. The kids that don't fit into the system, help them get their diplomas.
Q. The
Yes.
queer kids. So this crap I found on the internet, this is not you this is not referring to then, is it?
What's that?
That you're a director of quality assurance?
I was a director of quality insurance for an ad agency for quite
Yeah,
a while.
it
It was
says
the ad agency that did Morris Bart's ads way back
So
when.
this is all you then? Because
That's
it's
all
got
me.
a question that says right here, wrong P.H.Fred?
No, that's
and
the
I
right.
thought, yes, maybe I do, but this is the right P.H.Fred.
That's the right P.H.Fred.
Okay, you've got a pretty interesting background, P.H.Fred.
Uh-oh.
Listen to this, you guys. Fred earned a bachelor's degree in Greek and Latin studies from Loyola University and completed his master's degree in classical languages at Tulane University.
Did you run one of those background check things where you pay $1?
He's taught languages at Jesuit High School, St. Paul's Episcopal School, Loyola University, and Tulane. You taught at Tulane and Loyola?
When I was a graduate student, yeah.
What about that?
That's cool.
Andrew, come on.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
I like Andrew's. That's cool.
Yeah.
You could write a song about
So
that.
I found this on the internet myself without any difficulty. I'm surprised more people don't know this about you.
That's probably good. I mean, it's probably
but I
bad.
think having now set you up as a sort of an intellectual
Well, thank you.
and a person who's a teacher and also a quality
Quality assurance.
director of quality assurance, I think we should make you play a song.
What does that mean? How's that for a segue?
Did you
I
do a
I
song
think
on
it's a
quality
setup.
assurance?
I think
with
it's a
it.
setup. When
Yeah.
people hear what you can do on top of all that, they're going to
Yeah.
be shocked.
Oh, they're
Right.
going to be shocked that I write dirty songs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was playing a dirty song with
I hope it is funny. actually.
with,
Sort of
with-
It's
counting.
dirty.
No, it's not dirty. Actually, it's about being in jail.
Okay. Is that enough? We'll get onto that in a minute then. Let's hear the song first and give us a break from this horrible world we're entering.
Well, another night in county, got down with OPP, another pain in the ass. It's always happening to me. Sometimes I get too violent. I like to get my kicks. They got good pie here. I had 3.146. They got good pie here. I could die here. I'm not alive. They got good pie down here. Well, the rhubarb in Ann Arbor, the key lime in Key West, the apple in Seattle, like eating in bed. Never sing the alphabet for the field sobriety test. They got good pie here. They got good pie here. They got good pie here. I could die here. Not gonna lie. They got good pie down here. Well, down in Honolulu, they have creeping and a cream. I was in a crowded fire. In theater, I just scream. I wouldn't say I'm gay, but I took one for the team. They got good pie here. They got good pie here. They got good pie here. I could die here. Not gonna lie. They got good pie down here. Well, I'm a menace to society. My salad days are gone. Part of my trouble is pie and having too much fun. Didn't know she was dyslexic. Said she was 51. They got good pie here. They got good pie here. They got good pie here. I could die here. Not gonna lie. They got good pie down here.
Oh, my
Fabulous.
goodness.
Fabulous.
That's a beautiful song. This
That
is
is
from a guy
fabulous.
who's a
No.
student of Greek and Latin studies at Loyola University.
Yes,
They've got good pie. This is about a guy who fucked a 15-year-old and ended up in jail.
something like, and does other
Nice.
naughty
But
things.
switch
Yeah.
teams for a minute.
And yeah, took one for the team.
Took one for the team.
Yeah, you got a lot of good stuff in there. It's
Sounds
hard
like good pie.
You wrapped
it's
everything up in a nice bow.
little-
Yeah.
It's funny, when I was writing that song, I sent the lyrics to my buddy in Nashville, Jim McCormick. Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't write songs like that. He
Jim
goes,
McCormick was on our show last week.
Jim
in
was on the
fact.
show last week.
Jim and I went to high school together.
Nice.
So it's funny because he and I write songs together on a rare occasion. And he said, that's too radical.
That's
too-
not going to
that's-
really make it in Nashville.
It's
and
not going to
the-
make it in Nashville anymore.
Toby Keith isn't going to
Yeah.
sing that
Yes.
probably. They got
Yeah.
good pie here.
They got
That's
good
not
pie.
based on a true story.
No, I did find out being detained, and we won't say where I was detained, but the dessert is always good. The food may suck. The living conditions may be terrible, but most places of detention, whether it's a prison,
Quote unquote
Those are
prison.
quote-
Or
air
what's
quotes.
the alternative
well,
to
there's like mental hospitals. There's all sorts of places they lock you up.
I
But
see.
anyway, usually the desserts are good.
Oh, wow.
That's just from my past experience. So they got
Do you
good pie
think-
here.
Do you think
I have to look for the silver lining.
does everybody agree with you, or is that just
I've
your
never
sweet?
found-
Do you have a sweet tooth? You like
No,
pie?
actually, people have told me that. Other people I know who've been
Detained,
Those
quote
are air
unquote.
quotes.
air quotes. Yes.
Where were you detained?
You name it, I've been there.
Really? You were locked up in a mental hospital?
Oh, yeah, I've wound up there before.
And who
on and off.
who put you there?
If I knew, I would get even. I would write a song.
Somebody like committed you?
I've been committed a couple of times.
A couple of times.
A couple. Yeah, a
Okay, a couple
Well,
of 5.
no one can
10.
say that you as a man are the
Yes.
uncommitting type,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
put.
exactly.
He's not scared of commitment.
He's
I'm not scared of commitment.
No.
I've done it several
That's
times.
good. That's a country song.
Yeah,
That is a country
exactly.
song.
You can
It
work
ranks
that-
right up there with
yeah.
my other country song. Now that I got a colostomy, no need for an asshole like you.
Ah, wow.
I'm pitching at the gym tonight.
That's
I like
nice. Yeah, Jim.
that.
I could see Jim and you
Wow.
working on that and selling that to
Exactly.
Tim McGraw. Maybe
That could be a Tim McGraw song.
Wow.
That is interesting. So, what mental institution were you locked up in here in Louisiana?
Louisiana, I've
One of the
visited
ones
most
that's
of them.
one of
that
the
are
ones that's still.
Yeah,
in,
most of them. Actually, the good ones are all gone. Like Charity.
yeah.
Charity. Actually, Charity had pretty good, bad pie. They didn't
No
have
good.
good pie there.
Pie's no good.
Southeast had wonderful pie.
Southeast is still there, but it's run by a private.
Yeah, but the
entity.
Boston cream pie at Southeast, I recommend it.
I love
recommend
Boston cream
they have
pie.
It should be
Boston
on
cream
Yelp,
pie.
you know, the different detention centers and their food, you know.
like a Paula Deen cookbook type
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But it would be a P.H.Fred one.
We've got a lot of stuff to get to
Yeah,
yet. We've
right.
still got the Supreme Court decisions and
Oh, my.
transracial parenting. We haven't really got
my.
onto that. We've only started on that, but now we're on a whole different thing about mental health here.
Yes.
So, what were you locked up for? What was your
I-
dangerous behavior to yourself or others?
I have bipolar disorder. At least that's what they say.
Okay. And why does it make you a danger to yourself or others?
Because when I'm there, I'm dangerous to myself. No, I don't know. I don't know. They say when I'm in that condition, I could be dangerous.
And what stops you being in that condition? I'm only asking because it's a
it's
very
it's a
small
medication.
table.
It's a medication.
Are you
thing.
on the medication?
Yes,
right
I am.
now?
I've been on the medication for a long time.
Okay. So when you're off, what did you do? Seriously, what did you do that was so crazy?
I don't remember that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's it.
Seriously, it's one of those blackout kind of thing, blackout, brownout kind of thing.
So that you get locked up, they force the medication down, you calm down, then you wake up and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? And goddamn,
That's
South-
happened. That's happened.
And what kind of pie do you guys have today?
Exactly.
And wait a minute, wrote a song about it. Goes like this.
May I see the dessert menu? My favorite was I got locked up on a Friday. I wrote a song because they actually had a piano at East Jefferson Hospital when I was there.
Okay,
I got
that's
out
nice.
on a Tuesday, and on Wednesday I was booked to do the WWL morning show.
All right, that's awesome. So you play the song that you wrote in
In the
detention.
hospital, yeah. It
It's
was
something.
solid.
Wow. And it's funny that you remember the song, but you don't remember what got you there.
Exactly.
So,
Because
how
usually I write the song down. I don't write down what I'm doing while I'm crazy.
so who was the first person who diagnosed you as having bipolar disorder?
I have no idea.
Don't remember that.
Probably
either.
some doctor in the hospital
How
somewhere.
long ago was this in high school when you went to high school with Jim McCormick?
No, this was college, post-college. In between, actually right when I got out of graduate school.
So what drove you nuts? Do you think?
My first wife.
You really? Is there any truth to that, Rachel?
Was she bald?
No, she wasn't.
I've had 3 husbands.
Three
but-
husbands.
Yeah, but none of them drove me crazy.
Are you gay, right?
I'm LGBTQ.
Fluid.
I'm
I thought you were
fluid,
G.
F.
Oh, you're
I'm
F.
Fluid.
So you
She's
can go.
fluid.
You can go in any of these directions.
You know what? I am open.
Oh.
She's
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So you don't have a nomenclature.
I don't. I resist those labels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I think I agree with you.
I just read this
go.
amazing article in the New York Times about female sexuality. It's just totally intriguing, And
Anything we don't know about.
well, do you realize that there is a suspicious right now, like a genetical suspicious that females actually, like the bodies, they are created so they can have intercourse with many males at the same time.
Whoa.
Against like what all they believe that females, they are just like, one partner. and, like,
Monogamous.
Is this a translation issue when you say at the same time?
At the same time, like it means like in the same round, like in the same,
In the same hour or two.
Like
this
the-
is like
like
there's
the
porno.
same
There's porno sites that have that on it.
like the same. No, like the same
This is-
period of time. Like
Within
the
an
same
hour, you mean, or within 2 hours, or a
No,
night, or
within
a
the
week,
same
or a
period
month?
of time of
simultaneously.
intercourse.
The same period.
Yes. That the female.
5 minutes.
That the female, exactly. That the female anatomy, is designed to have.
To
many
accommodate
to
many men.
accommodate
Good
to
word.
to accommodate intercourse
This is the
with
New
different
York
males.
Times.
This is like the New York Times, and it's a new book about female sexuality. It's totally amazing. They make studies with monkeys. They put one monkey in a very small cage with a male, with the female monkey with a male monkey, and then they have the intercourse, blah blah blah, just like, and then they make it a bigger space with different males. males and one female, and she accommodate all them.
Okay.
and,
Let's get off the word
You think
accommodate.
we're-
You're talking about multiple penises being inserted into a single vagina. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, and,
Your
and
Honor?
genetically,
I've never heard that in my
female organisms and the anatomy is designed by that. According to this article in this book, it can tolerate that. It can. Yes.
There's a song.
It's
If the
interesting.
size of a baby can come out of a vagina, I suppose.
Wait.
the
You're
equivalent-
talking about like putting all the penises together and inserting them at the same time. I thought you were talking about like you can have a small sized penis and a large one, and this woman could have intercourse with all these different men and accommodate each size.
Okay, that's interesting.
Is that what you're talking about, or no?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, I mean
not a yes- not
can
a
do
yes or no
that.
question.
Yeah, but yes. It's part of the intriguing concept.
Yes,
but,
it's all
but
intriguing.
the other thing, yes, it's very intriguing. No. But what it means is that, like, okay.
This better be
Let's-
true.
I think
gonna
you can
put it-
say
it's
anything.
It's hard to be elegant, with
Okay,
this,
go
like,
ahead.
this
Right.
concept.
Elegant,
of
we're way
sexuality.
past that point.
Or
now.
like,
I think we're going to be sued by the New York Times. That's the first thing that's going to happen.
P.H. Fred has written a song about this
Okay.
already. He's writing it
I'm
down
writing
right
it down.
now. Yeah.
Six dicks, it's called.
Okay. Well,
6 dicks for one trick.
Yeah.
That's right.
okay. Basically, when
You can use that
like
for-
1 or 2 minutes, one or 2 minutes, a male organ can go flaccid, and then like the vagina can accommodate another in ready
Okay.
and
Oh,
be
gotcha.
ready, and that is part of what you see in prostitution. Like in
that's not-
Mexico or
that's-
India or in China, where the prostitutes have intercourse with 45, 50 people in one day.
Okay, I thought we were talking about
Yeah.
zip tying dicks together or something.
See,
I'm with
see.
you.
But it
That's
can-
what I
but it
thought
can-
you
See, I
were
knew that's
saying.
where
But it can
Graham
be-
was going.
but
I
it's
knew
a
that's not where
translation
we
issue.
were.
But it can be
Right.
happening too. I mean, this article mentioned that too. That you can actually do
You
it.
can do the zip
Seems
tying.
tough.
And the female body is designed to do that, just like an animal.
why?
Which is a
I think
concept.
if I'm rubbing up against another penis, I'm not going to be hard for a very long time anyway. So.
Well, that is you.
Well, you're right. That's true. There's some real Fs out there who would really dig that.
Absolutely.
Fluidly.
Why would anyone be designed? I mean, that is against sort of all principles of reproduction, which is what we're designed for, allegedly.
Oh, no,
we're not
we are
designed
not.
to have
We are,
fun.
no,
right,
no, no,
are
no,
we?
no. We are designed for pleasure.
We
Our
are.
body is built for pleasure.
Are we the only species that's designed for pleasure, Rachel?
No, we're not.
So other animals like to fuck as well, just for the hell of it.
Oh, have you ever seen dogs fucking in the street?
Nope.
What?
What
one of
street
the
do you
Greek
live on?
philosophers-
I live in.
street?
I don't live in that neighborhood that you're talking about. Driving
we also
through
have a very
where there's
nice
dogs
neighborhood.
fucking in the
We also
street.
cut the nuts off dogs these days.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
Exactly.
true.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's Hugo running off to? What happened?
He just was very upset about this conversation.
He's
It
got
went in a
offended.
direction he wasn't
Got
expecting.
offended. Okay.
Yeah.
He did actually run away.
Yeah,
you
he
see? I
did.
hope he's
He
going to
ran.
get something.
Yes.
Okay. So really, is it true? Other species have sex for fun, not for reproduction.
Yes,
Which species is that? Dogs. You really believe that?
I do believe that.
Well, I mean, do you really think that it goes through an ape's head that, I just
What
can't wait
goes
to have a
through it?
little ape junior, or that they
Right.
can't wait to fuck?
Or when the dog's humping my leg is going, I'm going to produce another leg dog.
Right.
I wouldn't like to presume what's going through an ape's head, frankly. But I would think that dogs, which I know a little bit about because I've had a couple of dogs, that when they're in heat, that's when they have sex. They don't have sex otherwise, as far as I know.
Male dogs.
Female dogs. Chris, do it.
Dolphins,
Dolphins.
I've heard, are the only animals that will just do it whenever, with no thoughts of
Right,
Okay.
but what's the difference between
That's
that
because they're
or
in Miami.
Chris was talking about dolphins.
Dolphins are in Miami. That's right, Frank.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can hardly understand the disparity between the animals who have sex because that chemical is coursing through their veins, and the difference between that and whatever we're talking about with dolphins, where they can't procreate at that moment, but they have sex anyway. I don't even get the difference there. What is the difference between?
Well, it's evolutionary. I mean, I
Yeah.
thought that most species were designed to procreate, so they'll
Right.
continue.
Yeah, but what
the
about
species.
practice?
Practice?
Yeah.
Well, I only know about dogs. I mean, dogs only have sex when they're in heat, so that only when they are able to procreate. Otherwise, a
Well,
female dog
all right.
Okay,
won't
can I
let a
tell
male
you
dog.
something? No. When a male smells a female in heat, that's when he gets horny.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
But do you think that he's going after her because he wants to have a baby?
Right.
A puppy?
No, but
Hell no.
that's how. No, but if there is some design behind this, whether it's designed by God or designed by evolution or whatever it is.
Well, let me tell you something.
It is
Let me
designed
explain something to you about sexual fluidity
Oh,
and
thank
women.
God,
Okay.
Finally, someone.
A lot of women I know
Yeah.
are the horniest when they're having their period, not when they're ovulating. Okay?
Okay.
So that goes completely against your theory.
Well, I don't think
Right.
it was. It's not really my theory. I
Well,
thought
I'm
it
just
was
saying,
a fact.
it's not a fact.
It's not a fact.
For human biology, no. Women want to fuck when they're having their period, which is not appropriate in the norm, but it is what most women feel.
Graham, come on over here. You have to say something.
We
This
have
is our
another
producer.
woman
It's
in
our
the
producer,
house.
Graham DePonte.
I
Who-
believe myself
Yes. Whoa. Okay.
that women of procreating age have evolved to want to have sex during their period because they know it's safe.
Well, maybe that's true. That could be evolution. That's a
that's
good
an
reason.
evolutionary-
That's a very interesting thing.
Wow. So you mean it's you can stay. It's all right.
Yeah.
So you're saying that we've evolved to that, or some women have evolved that because they want to.
Don't want to get pregnant.
It's like birth
but
control.
That's anti-evolutionary theory, then,
Well,
right?
yeah, but it's birth control.
That's devolution,
Devolution.
isn't it? Isn't that anti? I mean, if there's such a thing as evolution, okay, Hugo,
Let me read.
you've got the New York Times article here. Thank God.
Let
we're
me
not
read
gonna
this
sue 'cause it
sentence.
is true.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me read this sentence. It says, Gallio of Pergamon, the great physician and medical researcher of antiquity, was one of the many learned men of his time who believed that a woman had to have an orgasm during sexual intercourse for conception to occur. Okay, this is how the article starts, and the article is called "I'll have what she's having."
I
have what
love
she's
that.
having.
And look
I
at-
love that. That's
and look at-
great.
and
So
then-
this guy thought a woman had to have an orgasm to get pregnant.
This is
This
how
guy
this
was
article
not a
starts.
doctor,
But then is this the mystification of like the female role in sexuality that actually, especially like in Latin America, for example, in the Middle Eastern, that is all like passive, and I mean that is not true. Like the hot tamale thing, is absolutely true. I mean, Latin women, they're not, they're no women that's just waiting there with the children in the kitchen, mending, socks, and like, no, you don't see that. I mean, we have women in Mexico fighting in the revolution. We have this woman in 1530, Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz. She was a nun. She was like the 10 muse, and she was a piano player. She was an intellectual. She used to cut her hair to go to university because colleges in Mexico, they were only for men. Right. This is like 15, 20 something. We
Sounds
have
like a
this
movie.
Female, I mean, female roles of power of like defeating, what the identity of women were. I was born and raised with 7 women, my sisters, my mom, and my grandma. Dad was always working. He came like after work, So, I mean, I went to a teaching school, so all my my friends, they were girls, I mean, I went with my sisters to girls' to girls' parties. I'm not an expert in women, but but I'm very close to.
But
to
you're a
Close.
student
Not
of women.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you have to read this article. It's just very,
Very
interesting.
interesting.
Fascinating. It's sitting on my coffee table, but I've yet to read
You're
it. Is that-
subscribed to the New York Times.
I
is
do.
that right?
Well, I get the Sunday. Is that last
Yeah,
Sunday?
Sunday,
Sunday
Sunday.
Times. Yeah, that's this week's Sunday Times. What date does it say on it? Just so. Can you read that? June the 16th.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long ago?
Hugo, thank God you read that. That's changed the whole show now. Gone
And
down a whole
hate
different road.
I hate to bother everybody.
we
This
gotta
is-
go. We've-
This is the conversation that I want to go on for another hour, and I have to leave.
You got to
now,
leave. We
you
have
know?
to
You
go
gotta go
too.
to
We've
Ogden.
we've all got to get out of here.
Yeah,
actually.
I guess so,
The
yeah.
hour's up.
Sure.
And you're
That's
off to play at the Ogden.
That's me. Yeah, I got 3 minutes to get there.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think you can probably do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rachel, we probably haven't. Have you said everything you came here to say, or nothing?
No, I have not.
You haven't said anything
I
you
haven't
came here to
said
say.
1/10.
Yeah, that's usually the story. We'll have to have you back, I
Yes,
suppose.
you should.
And then, thank God, Flow Tribe didn't show up because we didn't have any time for them to say anything.
No, not at all.
Nothing. And P.H.Fred, we found out that you've been locked up in mental institutions.
Well,
and,
thank you.
and
Not
you can
locked up,
recommend the
committed.
committed, and can recommend the pie.
I can recommend the pie.
And your new album, Lithium and Underoos, is out.
Yes.
So
And it
that's-
features Steve Hunter and Fernando Saunders, who used to play with Lou Reed. They're on my backup band, and Mike Watt, who used to be with. Actually, he still plays with Iggy Pop. So I have some cool guest artists on
You
it.
have
Sounds
guys-
fabulous.
You have guys in your band that will.
Steve Hunter, like guitar player.
No, just the bass player.
Okay.
So he was with Iggy Pop And the
He's
other,
on the new version of the Iggy
Yeah.
Pop and the Stooges.
and the other guys from
Lou Reed's band.
Lou Reed's band. Holy
No.
mackerel! How did you snag these guys?
I was at home and I just emailed them and said I'm making a record.
That's impressive. And the record's called Lithium and Underoos.
Yes.
And that song, I mean, there's a lot of good songs on that record. We need to do this whole show again,
I
actually.
think so.
Graham, what do you
Let's
think?
do a repeat.
There's some funny songs on that record, I have
Thank
to
you.
say. Congratulations. That's a good
I
record.
want that Bucktown song.
Okay, I will bring that for both.
Yeah, okay.
And
But
you're in the hood, so I can bring
Yeah,
it up.
right.
The new record is funny though. It's P.H.Fred, thanks for joining us. Rachel Dangermond as well. We can find you at dangermond.org.
Yes, or please look up transracialparenting.com where I speak about
Transracialparenting.com.
race, racism, and parenting.
Okay. And Andrew Duhon has been here as well. Andrew's new record is called The Moorings. Is awesome and is available wherever good downloads are sold. Thanks for joining us for Happy Hour. This week our producers have been Graham DePonte and Trish Kaufman. Chris Kehoe is our associate producer and technical director. Christian Unruh is our music director, although he didn't really come through with Flow Trial. It's not Christian's fault though. They're at the Columns Hotel. Graham says they're at the Columns Hotel waiting for us to show up. My goodness, that's interesting. Our theme song was written and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. The fabulous audio quality of the show is brought to you in part by PreSonus Audio Electronics. PreSonus makes some of the best audio recording and live sound products around, including Studio One music production software, Studio Live digital mixing consoles, Era Studio monitors, and much more. You can check out all that and more at presonus.com. If you'd like to be on our show, you can stay up right here at Casa Borrega for about an hour and talk about how many penises can be inserted into a vagina at one time. Drop us a line at itsneworleans@gmail.com, where you can also check out our other Happy Hour shows. There's many more to listen to, as well as our other shows. Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace. Mindset with psychiatrist Dr. Nick Pajic. True to the Game with the fabulous Chris True and Tammy Nelson. Vietnola, our show about the New Orleans Vietnamese community. And Midnight Menu Plus One with Margot Moss and the man who ate New Orleans, Ray Canada. You can keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and a bunch of other time-sucking social media. We're on all of it. We're It's New Orleans. If you listen to this on iTunes or Stitcher, thanks for subscribing. Take a moment to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. Our show was recorded live today at Casa Borrega, which is going to be open next week. Correct, Hugo?
Yeah, July the 4th.
July the
Thursday.
4th.
It's
5 p.m.
fabulous here.
Oh, it is beautiful here, isn't it? So come on down
Fabulous.
to Casa Borrega. Meantime,
Just-
follow them on Facebook and Twitter.
Just after happy hour. Just after happy hour.
After Happy Hour, we're open.
Next week.
Okay, and come and
Yeah.
meet us as well. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For Andrew Duhon, who's currently at the Ogden Museum, Mitch Foreman on piano, everyone around here at the table, and back at INO Broadcasting. Thanks for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. We'll see you next time on Happy Hour.
Imagine skiing blind down mountains at 70 miles per hour. I'm Danielle Umstead, blind alpine skier, 3-time Paralympic medalist, and former contestant on Dancing with the Stars. I decided to undergo a simple genetic test to identify the specific gene mutations causing my inherited retinal disease. Visit iwanttoknow.com, that's EYE, want the number 2, know.com, to find a provider to help you access genetic testing.